Oldish. The art of knowing more and caring less. With your hosts, Randy Spelling, Brian Austin Green, and Sharna Burgess.
Okay, welcome to another episode of Oldish. Here we are. We just had James on, who was just really enlightening. So I love whenever we have guests on and they're talking about neuroscience and they're talking about a different way of thinking and dealing with something that activates our brain in a different way than we have learned to do it. Like I know, so with James, we were talking about alcohol and even for casual drinkers, a different approach and a way of sort of cleaning up that aspect of life and having a different way of looking at it. And I know for years, people have been using AA for that. And again, like he said, I would never in a million years want to knock AA because people find success.
Sure.
With AA.
Absolutely.
But then there are a lot of people that don't find success for AA. So I think the benefit for people is then, okay, find something that they can be successful with. Don't just sit and go, AA didn't work for me. Yeah. So I guess I'm just supposed to then drink for the rest of my life. Like
exactly.
That's not the approach that is the best for them, obviously. This neuroscientific approach, this changing the way you look at it. And in my mind, I equated it to manifesting, looking at the positives of what could come. And it's a totally different approach. Like, because I know AA, I know people that have been through AA. I know sort of the steps and the way that it works. And this is a very different approach. What I heard from him compared to what I've heard before. Yeah. And you've actually firsthand experienced AA.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I've been in AA. I was sort of in and out. Mm-hmm. Funny that he said, someone is court ordered. At one point, I was court ordered because I had a DUI.
Yeah,
and so I had to be there. And just
you didn't want to be
being young, having to be there didn't feel good. It was very hard at the time to look around and see likeness versus seeing like, oh, this isn't me. I haven't, been down
wasn't
dark,
the same. You're right. You weren't there for the same reason. You weren't there because you were like, I need to find something better. You were like, I'm just being forced to be here.
Right.
Anybody else being forced to be here? Right. No. Okay. So it's just me. All right.
And fundamentally, and again, I don't want to bash AA because I think if you find something that works, great. Do what works. For me, it was always hard to get to this place of the first step is I am powerless over alcohol and life has become unmanageable. Now, this is where feathers get ruffled because people that are hardcore into 12-step, that is the step. That is like the first step where you have to get to that point. I understand it because at some point when you try to control, when you try to manage and it doesn't work, there is a giving in. There is an acceptance.
So you have to admit that you're like powerless to it?
You have to admit it. You have to admit that this thing that I'm trying to do, I can't just do on my own. It's not working. Where I stray personally is when you say that I am powerless over something, you're sort of making that thing bigger than you, bigger than this, connection that you have. And I think that's where I'm like, now in retrospect, I'm like, ooh, that's a hard one because part of why people drink is they don't realize how powerful they are. They don't realize the connection that we have. And if they knew that, that's why things like psychedelics, even though that wasn't my path, being able to understand consciousness and connection and know that there is more to life, when they can feel that, it puts it into perspective of, wait a second. This thing that I have had an issue with is not bigger than me.
Do you feel like though that maybe that may apply more to you than to others because you are very connected in a different way. I mean, you've been a professional life coach for 17 plus years.
Right.
I mean, not many people can say like, you know what, I'm bigger than all of this. And so I'm going to embrace and take back that power. There are a lot of people that don't have the same thing. I mean, what would you say to them compared to, because your story is very unique.
True. I feel very lucky that I haven't had to go in and out of, I already did that. I went to 2 treatment centers. I sort of flailed about in and out of AA, 12-step. And like you said, it didn't necessarily work for me. It helped for a period of time, for sure. And then I was like, I need to find my way. And I started, I already went to therapy, but I started tackling a couple different kinds of therapy and then doing healing and spiritual work and various modalities to where I found my way.
It seems more like AA for you, just in what I've heard you speak of, was much more of like you were in a place of trying to view the things that weren't working and figuring them out. And AA was a big part of that, of you stepping into it and going, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
But it wasn't necessarily the thing
that
pulled you out of it, but it was
me.
the thing that opened your eyes to what you wanted to change.
Absolutely. And I want to be very clear. This is my path. This is my personal view.
Yes.
Now, I've worked with people over the years, many people with addictions, not solely by any means. And I will tell you, sometimes it works for people, sometimes it doesn't. But people stop when it doesn't work. Just like he talked about gratitude. People will do gratitude. They'll do it for 3-4 days. And then it doesn't work in the way that they want. They might feel something in the moment, but they don't get that. They don't extrapolate
Immediate.
that like, okay, my life is better. And then so they stop it. And I love many things that James shared, but like anything, it sounds simple. That frame of don't focus on what you don't want to do. Focus on the life that you want to live. Yeah. Yes, I agree, but there's more steps to it. His program, there are steps in the program that you take. He talked about one thing that we didn't get into as much as I would have liked, and he talked about a like-minded community. And I know for people that is so hard to find because what they're used to doing is getting together with friends on a Friday night or a work function, and everyone's drinking.
That's the social thing.
That's the social thing. So when you say...
Now we've got to find social without that aspect, and that's a much harder find.
Exactly. And a lot of times it's terrifying for people because they go, okay, I'm not doing this. I know that I want...
Isn't that what AA does, though? I mean, it doesn't AA essentially create a new social thing where people in similar situations come together and they don't feel alone within it?
That's the idea. That's the idea, is that you have a like-minded community, right? Not everyone is going through the same exact thing, but they share this one thing. And the thing that they share is the alcoholism or the addiction. And so there is a shared experience in that way. I think sometimes, though, and he alluded to this, what the problem can be is that people go in and they're like, ooh, this feels really dark. This feels heavy. And the idea...
This feels like I'm a victim and I need to like fall in line of that.
Like the stories that you hear in AA, I've sat in those rooms and wow, you can, clap and be like, that's inspiring.
Thank you for sharing.
It's really, really heavy because everyone is talking about pain. And I think that that's a sort of a beautiful shared experience and people need to hear it, but it seems like a closed loop. And sometimes you need they call them old timers in the program. You need the people to share where they're at and what they have accomplished, because the whole idea behind AA is that it is a spiritual program. Funny thing I was reading, AA actually came from Carl Jung. if I have this correctly, someone went, and it was, I don't know if it was a disciple of Carl Jung or someone that worked with Carl Jung, but they couldn't stop drinking, and they went, and he let them know about this like spiritual principle of being connected to a higher power. Because if you are connected, if you feel your connection, if you know that you're connected, addiction is disconnection. And it's like the coin of disconnection.
Right.
If you are drinking,
It's the last
and
thing
using,
you want to feel when you're finally feeling
so
connected.
when you're actually really feeling connected, it's hard then to
Right.
be like, oh, I'm going to take this thing or use this thing that's going to take me out of that connection that I'm feeling because I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
So that's how it got disseminated to then Bill W., who started AA.
Bill W. and Dr. Bob.
Right? Yeah. So I love the neuroscience.
It's really interesting. Like I love guests like James because it just puts you in a place of, and we talk about this all the time, like when you're in a place of seeking information and you're really trying to understand multiple thought processes and opinions and then form your own, this is a great one because for so long it was only AA.
Mm-hmm.
For so long it was like, oh, you drank, oh, you got to go to AA.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the one and only option.
Right.
So it's so refreshing now to be like, oh, there are other options and other points of view and other ways of looking at it. And now there's hard evidence and numbers and statistics and things to look at that have been studied, and you can see what works and what doesn't. And you can now come to these conclusions yourself, which I think for people, when they come to those conclusions on their own, they're way more apt to sticking with them and seeing them through because it's something that they feel empowered to do because they did the research themselves. They learned the information themselves, and then they made their own educated decision.
Right. And that's where change really happens is when it comes from within. If someone tells you, just don't do it. Don't do it. Right? Look in the mirror. I don't look at it. Someone's like, oh, you look beautiful. And you're like,
right.
It doesn't work. But when it comes from inside of you, it's the reason why coaching therapy is so powerful is someone hears themselves say something and then it's a reflection. Like, oh, wait, you just said that. And someone goes, I did. I did just say that. And now they've heard themselves say it.
Right.
Which is a whole different story. And I want to say this too. I'm still a big fan of therapy and therapeutic modalities. I don't think that just using neuroscience alone, for some people it might be, but I don't think there's any harm or anything bad that comes along with also working on some things that you have from the past, because we didn't sort of make that connection in our talk with James is, yes, you don't want to solely focus on the past so much that
the past is your present and then that's your future. You're kind of, it becomes this crappy loop that you're stuck in.
It becomes a bad loop. Right. Yes. However, there are things that you need to be addressed from the past, because if they're not, what I see is that they will come out and up in different ways. So it might stay at bay in this area, but then someone will get into a relationship and that same part, that same pathology shows up in that pattern shows up in their relationship or when it comes to work or money. So sometimes those things
that's
need to
the
be
individuality of each of us, though. I mean,
absolutely.
What he seemed to mainly be talking about was the casual drinker. Like, it's, growing up in Australia, it was like, it's what you do. You go and you have a couple drinks every day and you do that. And then I cut that. But then for other people where it's like they are abusing alcohol or abusing drugs because they have things from their past. Obviously, you need to get to the past. You need to start from that point forward. You need to kind of, they say, you need to go back to when you were 12 and start from that point again, or
Right.
all those years that you then started masking. You need to go back through all of those and relive those all, but in a healthy way, right? And find a healthier way to get to where you are now than you did.
Yeah, and that's why sometimes something like rehab, something like then AA, even just the willpower, the white knuckling it, sometimes you have to do that to remove the obstacle to get clear enough to then
Right.
get to the root of things, because you can never get to the root of things when you are deep in addiction. When you're actively in addiction, it's not going to heal.
So the best thing for somebody to do that has an addiction or knows somebody is to sit with a therapist first, to sit with someone that can help guide you a little bit in what they feel you might need to do.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many good resources now. I think, James has a few of many, and this is very individual. Just be weary when anyone says this is the way.
Right.
Because there's
no such
usually
thing.
not the way,
No,
right?
there's no such thing.
There is
I've taken supplements
way.
that are like, oh, these are all organic and they're all natural. And I've gone to my doctor. My doctor's like, not in your body. This one right here will mess with your stomach every single time. Everybody else, it's great.
Brian, I was using turmeric and taking like higher doses of turmeric for inflammation and whatever. And that's just
That's what they do in the health shots.
Not to realize that a lot of times there are high amounts of heavy metals in turmeric. So I'm taking supplements, getting a lot of heavy metals, thinking that I'm doing something healthy.
Right.
So, it's good to look at everything. And what we're doing here on Oldish and in this show is giving you options, giving you ways. We're not preaching, telling you this is the way. This is a way.
There's no such thing as the way. Like it is individual. You're all individuals. We're just trying to share as much information as we can. Honestly, so it opens your eyes to the concept of, let me look into this a little more. Let me see what works for me. Let me ask some questions. Let me talk to some people that I wouldn't normally talk to and get some other opinions and try some things, because you never know. There is no quick fix. Like it's all, everybody that has really gotten to a place where they are trying to improve their lives knows that it's trial and error. Like you try certain things and you go, ooh, this really works. And then you try some other things and you go, nah, that isn't it for me. And it's different for everyone.
Yep. And that's why I really hope, the people that have talked to me through the years about drinking or whatever addiction, the trial people miss because they try to not drink for a week or a couple weeks. James happened to have a very quick validation of things showing up in his life.
Yeah.
Sometimes people get that. Great. A lot of times they don't. It takes a couple months, a few months, that clarity, them coming back online. And I wish that everyone can at least just ask the question, do you ever think, right? Alcohol, phone, anything. Do you ever think, I wish I didn't do this as much. If I removed this or did it less, I probably would feel better. I think it's a great question to ask.
For sure.
Especially now with so many studies coming out showing that alcohol is kind of a neurotoxin and a poison. I mean, look, in moderation, I'm a strong believer. That's something that's not
You're
just
still poisoning your body. I mean, the frank, real reality is you're not doing your body any good drinking alcohol. You're not.
Probably not. But
nobody is like, I was having liver issues and I do I have a drink a day and suddenly I'm feeling better and everything's working better. Never. I've never heard that story.
This is true, but I think everything isn't created equal in the fact that if someone, you look at other countries, right? They grow wine, they make wine, and they come together at a meal and they partake in some wine, right? There's something about that could, the cost to benefit ratio, there might be more benefit because
to
of
sharing that,
the community, the sharing, the good that they get from that. But I think in general, right, if you look at like that burn that you get where you're like, oh, that's
you're like,
hot,
ooh,
that's
boy,
spicy.
that's a good one.
Like you wouldn't drink Windex and be like, ooh, that's spicy. It's so
this
warming.
Lysol is really going to do me good.
You're like, oh, shit, that is hot. That's not good. So,
Speaking of Lysol wipes, we love them. Yeah. Cha-ching.
So, presenting information.
There you go. Shit. That's what that episode and this wrap up are about. It's just like, take this information, give yourself, I hope it gives you another opinion and another perspective to see things from, and then just be active in searching out what works the best for you.
Absolutely.
Don't just sit and wait for it to come to you.
Right.
Be active.
Don't
Go
be
out and do it.
apathetic.
Yeah.
Don't just, because this is what Oldish really is all about. We're at a time in life where whatever we can do to provide you
be proactive
with options to feel better, to function better, and what James said, and I'll bring it back around, to be more present. Because while that sounds very like Zen Buddhist and, spiritual, the crux of that is when you are more present, you feel more connected to the people around you. You feel happier. You feel more fulfilled. And at the end of the day, we're all kind of after that, right?
Totally. Absolutely. Done. Episode down. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Wherever it is you are listening or watching, if you can subscribe, if you can like, if you can share, it does so much good for us in continuing to do this show and bring it to you. Again, we love doing this. We want to thank all of you for being a part of this show. It's because of you all that we are here in the first place, and we are well aware of that. So thank you, and we'll see you next time.
I just wanted to take a moment to let you know that you don't have to navigate life alone. If there's something hard that you're dealing with or you're just ready for a change, then reach out to me at randyspelling.com, or you could DM me on Instagram, also at randyspelling. And if I can help you, I will. If there's a resource that I can share with you, I will also do that as well. Thanks.